Sunday dinners at the Whitmore estate were always a show. Nathan lifted his glass, flashing his Rolex. Final signatures next week. Whitmore Logistics is ours. I smiled quietly. If only they knew. My stepmother leaned over. And your little condo, Nathan? Expensive, he said proudly. But the bonus makes it worth it. Then my father turned to me. Elise still doing that online thing? This online thing is my company, I said. Nathan laughed. You mean YouTube and a startup blog? They had no idea my company ran global systems, protected government networks, and closed contracts bigger than his entire department. You're almost 35, my stepmother sighed. Your office is a guest room. Maybe Nathan can help you get started. My phone buzzed under the table. Final merger complete. You now own Whitmore Logistics. I took a slow sip of wine. At least I'm building something of my own, I said. Nathan snorted. Building what? A Discord server? My father shook his head. You had Princeton, Tokyo, big offers. And you chose TikTok tutorials. I stayed calm. The world runs on systems now, Dad. He scoffed. Real business ships products, not code. My phone vibrated again. Whitmore shares down 11.8%. Emergency board meeting scheduled. Nathan straightened. We're buying a small tech startup, he announced proudly. Atlas Tech Solutions. I almost smiled. Atlas was mine. A shell company I built just to destabilize Whitmore from the inside. Interesting move, I said softly. You wouldn't understand, Nathan replied. High-level strategy. He was right. He just didn't know who was controlling it. My stepmother sighed. I still wish you'd come back to the family business. I pictured tomorrow's boardroom. I already owned it. The panic hit before they even realized. Atlas Tech Solutions, a decoy. Every competitor who'd outsmarted them lately, quietly answering to me. Actually, I said lightly, swirling my wine, I have some major developments on the horizon. Nathan snorted. Another brand deal? Another startup podcast? My phone buzzed. Amanda. Urgent. The board wants to move the meeting up. Atlas merger panic is escalating. I smiled faintly. You might hear about it tomorrow. Tomorrow? Dad's eyes narrowed. Just another day in the digital world, I said, grabbing my coat. Leaving already? Nathan teased. Hot date with your laptop ring light? I paused at the doorway, scanning the room one last time. Dad, disappointment. Stepmom, hopeful, worried. Nathan, smug, blind to the legacy slipping from his hands. Actually, I said softly, I have some merger documents to review. The drive home in my fully paid Model S was quiet. They still thought I rented. Back at my Capitol Hill brownstone, I entered Command Central. 12 monitors pulsing with contracts, market data, asset flows. Velocity Nexus was executing the final phase of a quiet coup. Whitmore Logistics, too analog, too proud, too slow, would have no choice but to beg for a full buyout by noon tomorrow. Messages pinged from family. Mom, think about what we said. Nathan, time to join the real world. Dad, Whitmore names still matters. I didn't look away from the screens. Billions moved daily through Nexus systems. Let them keep the name. I already owned their future. Tomorrow, they'd learn it the hard way. Whitmore Logistics still stood in its Seattle headquarters, limestone and steel, gold signage, old wood-paneled lobbies smelling faintly of tradition. Today, everything would shift. Amanda, I greeted as we entered the private elevator. Calm. Focused. Not a social media assistant. Harvard grad. Chose Nexus over a six-figure consulting job. The board is assembled. Your father is pacing. I adjusted my tailored navy suit, far from the hoodie they associated with my hobby. Do they know yet? They know Atlas numbers are off, she said. But they haven't traced it to Nexus. Perfect. Let them squirm. The executive boardroom buzzed with tension. Through the glass, I saw Dad pacing. Nathan flipped spreadsheets with forced urgency. Board members whispered, agitated. Amanda handed me the tablet. I thought of every Sunday dinner, every laugh at my so-called ambitions. Oh, I'm ready. The room fell silent as I stepped in. Dad froze. Nathan's documents slipped. Elise? What are you doing here? This meeting is confidential. Is it? I smiled, walking to the head of the table. As CEO of Velocity Nexus, I'm exactly where I belong. Dad went pale. What? Nexus? What do you mean? Amanda stepped forward. Allow me to introduce Elise Whitmore, founder and CEO of Velocity Nexus, the company finalizing its acquisition of Whitmore Logistics. Silence. Nathan's jaw dropped. Dad's hand clutched his chair. This is a mistake. You run a blog? Social media tutorials. No, Dad, I said quietly. I run the company buying yours. I tapped my finger. Boardroom screens lit up with Velocity Nexus's global corporate overview. I run a digital transformation powerhouse. Every setback you faced, part of the plan. Nathan finally found his voice. But Atlas Tech is a shell. I nodded. One of many. We created them to pressure you, redirect contracts, and dismantle your client base methodically. You were sabotaging us? Dad's voice cracked. No, I said calmly. I was showing you exactly what you refused to understand. Business has evolved. Success isn't just factories and warehouses anymore. The screens behind me shifted. Real-time stats, global operations, billions in revenue. Velocity Nexus, $12.7 billion annual revenue. Active in 28 countries. 6,200 employees. Fortune 500 clients. Government contracts. Market cap, 4.5x Whitmore's value. And yes, I added, glancing at Nathan, there's an Instagram page too. The same one you all laughed at. That's where I share insights. Why the secrecy? He asked, subdued. Would you have listened if I hadn't forced your attention? I met his eyes. When I proposed updates, you mocked me. Cloud integration? Distraction. Innovation? Waste. Dad slumped into his chair. I slid the acquisition papers across the table. Terms are non-negotiable, I said. Velocity Nexus will absorb Whitmore Logistics at current market value, which dropped 15% this morning. We'll modernize operations, bring your systems into the present. Nathan stared. And us, he asked. You can stay, learn, adapt, or walk with your payout. Your choice. A board member cleared his throat. Miss Whitmore, what exactly is your company doing? This, I said, is the future. While you clung to manufacturing, we built ecosystems. While you dismissed tech as a trend, we rewrote the rules. Dad whispered, voice low, eyes wide. Your tiny apartment in Capitol Hill? I smiled quietly. Command center. Headquarters. Not really tiny. The brownstone, restored, climate-controlled, running secure operations for a chunk of the West Coast's digital infrastructure. And yes, the Instagram stories? Perfect camouflage. Amanda stepped forward with updated briefs. Velocity Nexus stock just surged 9%. Tech media is calling it the merger of the year. The papers need to be signed today, I said, glancing at my watch. Whitmore Logistics would fall further otherwise. Dad's voice shook. You planned all of this? All of it, I said evenly. I learned from you. Strategy. Vision. Execution. I just saw farther. The next hour was a blur of signatures, handshakes, whispered congratulations. Nathan stared blankly at the polished boardroom table. Harvard MBA? Suddenly meaningless. Dad approached me. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have listened? I asked. When I said the world was changing, you called it noise. When I showed you innovation, you called it waste. So I stopped explaining and started building. Olivia's voice broke the tension. You own our company now? No, I said calmly. I'm saving it. Bringing the Whitmore name into a world you were too proud to see coming. That night, I sat in my real office, Nova Digital's Manhattan penthouse. The skyline pulsed with the connected world I'd helped shape. Messages pinged. Mom, we had no idea. So proud. Livia, can we talk? I want to learn. Dad, You were right about everything. I smiled at the wall of screens pulsing with Velocity Nexus's operations. Success doesn't wear a badge, doesn't sit behind glass. It grows quietly, behind dismissed ideas, belittled ambition, in spaces others ignore, until it dominates the light. The next family dinner? Different. No lectures. No mocking references to blogs or TikTok. Questions. Genuine curiosity. Nathan listened, not to argue, but to understand. Humbled, finally open. Dad stepped back, admitting the industry had passed him by. Mom boasted about her daughter, the tech CEO. I keep building. From a Manhattan penthouse. From a Seattle brownstone. Because real power doesn't come from where you sit. It comes from what you build. The Whitmore name? It still matters. Not for what it was, but for what I made it become. One transformation at a time. If you've been laughed at for dreaming differently, dismissed for thinking outside the box, or told to shrink yourself to fit someone else's mold, you know exactly where I've been. I didn't set out to prove anyone wrong. I set out to build something right. Something future-facing. Something mine. And if my story resonates, share yours. Comment below. Tell me how you fought to be seen.